Hi everyone, welcome to 5 Questions with LeRoy Butler, and here we are after arguably one of the worst losses the Packers have suffered in the Mike McCarthy era. Really they got beat in probably every area except special teams.
Well, he did miss a 55-yard.
Yeah, and they missed a 55-yard field goal.
But special teams, I think, for the most part, if Crosby was playing up to a high level, they probably had the best special team in the league with all the fake field goals and all that. But with that being said, not real sure if I would have tried it at that particular time. But it shows they still have confidence in him, though.
Yeah, but probably not. We're talking about the 55-yard try that they made early on, and he missed. Well, let's talk in general. You made an observation when we were talking about this game that you thought they looked tired.
Yes.
They looked like a tired team. In what way?
Well, I think emotionally they were close to being 2-4 going to Houston, Texas. They're going to destroy that team. And I want to come back to that point in a minute. But when you win 5 games, it's a lot of emotional as well as physicalness. And then you lose some guys, and I think for the most part the Giants couldn't wait for the bye week. They come off a bye week, they're rested, they understand the magnitude of this division, that the Redskins had just beat the Cowboys, they're sitting there 5-6, whatever. They knew the magnitude of what had to happen at MetLife Stadium. The Packers, they were spent. And it seemed like, how can you say that when they just had a bye week? But when you play the teams that they played, I mean, those weren't top teams, okay? I mean, Detroit, although it was a playoff team, they're not playing up to, a high level, neither Arizona. But it just seemed like to me, coming out of the gate, they just did not have the energy it takes to take it on the road, and somewhat of a surprise.
Yeah, and it's surprising because you would have thought that this would have been their revenge game from the playoffs, and that they would have been doing anything they could to exact revenge. But for whatever reason, they were flat. They were not, ready to play. Now, let's talk about also their game plan, particularly offensively, and whether they were prepared to handle the Giants and what they threw at them.
I think for the most part, when you go on the road and you see teams come out flat, you say, how does that happen? Now, coaches can help you with that, with an aggressive game plan. You can come out and you can be more aggressive on defense. You can blitz more. Offensively, you can be, patient, but at the same time put pressure on the defense. And it seemed like they didn't do neither, and they didn't make a lot of adjustments on the sideline. I really thought after the long touchdown to Jordan Nelson, they felt like, hey, listen, if they're going to play one high safety, we got that route all day long. But the Giants went to more of a cover 2.
The whole game. I mean, that was almost maybe 2 or 3 times.
And they said, we got 4 guys, really a 5-6-man rotation to go after the quarterback. The offensive line is not very good. We don't have to expose ourselves like that anymore. And they didn't do it. They just let their 4 guys go after the quarterback. And that time in the fourth quarter, it was just, pick your poison. And this offensive line is not going to get any better. In other words, it may get worse. So if they don't make it to the playoffs or get kicked out in the first or second round, it'll be because the offensive line didn't play, at a high level. But if they, for some reason, can do that, play at a high level, now they can go deep into the playoffs.
Yeah. Now here's a question. Okay, so you lose Brian Bulaga and you move T.J. Lang, who's a very good left guard, and you move him to right tackle, and you put Evan Dietrich-Smith at left guard.
Who's the backup center.
Right. Yeah. So now you've weakened 2 positions by, to get your 5 best on there. What if you put, one of your rookies is Don Barkley at right tackle, put T.J. Lang back at left guard, and then you've only weakened 1 position, and you obviously have to help that guy throughout. Is that an option, or are you thinking that, it's obvious they don't think Barkley's ready to play yet?
He's not ready to play. Right now, I got to go with these guys because they're experienced, and they've been around, they understand. I would even bet you that Josh Sitton has played one of these tackle positions before.
Well, he's played right tackle. He started out when he first came.
That's what I'm saying. So these guys have always been interchangeable. And Newhouse, for the most part, has been your best offensive lineman. I know he had a tough time against the Giants, but he's your left tackle. Normally you put your best lineman at left tackle. Now, DJ Smith, he can have a problem in that left guard because normally it's TJ Lang, a nasty guy, Josh Sitton, a nasty guy at the guards. Now you pull out a guy, and it's just almost like that, like you said, you weaken your team, but you also help your team with the experience. All these guys are experienced.
Right. Now, you've put your 5 best linemen, you assume. But like I said, you've weakened, you've put in a guy at right tackle who's not as good as the starter, and you put a guy in at left guard who's not as good as the starter.
I think we all thought Derek Sherrod would be playing. They tried him at guard, didn't work.
Yeah.
So now they got him at left tackle, and he's still not ready to play.
Well, he's not physically ready to play.
No,
he just can't play. That injury was catastrophic.
Right. And I think they'll be looking more for next year for him. So the future is bright for those guys because they can get back into the draft and get some linemen or whatever. But right now, they're one injury away from being just in a horrific spot.
Yeah.
Because you can bring in 3 and 4 tight ends and go max protection, but you limit how many guys going out for the route.
Right. Well, in that Giants game, maybe that's what you needed to do to keep the, score close, and then you rely on your special teams and your defense. Now, granted, the defense didn't play great.
Right.
And it looked like it might be a shootout, but if you don't kick that field goal and you punt and you hold them, it ends up being a 7-7 game, and then you get conservative on offense. Maybe you keep it into a field goal game.
Yeah, and I think you're onto something here because one thing I looked at when we looked at the film, and I know the viewers don't normally get the view we're looking at, but both lines right now are not playing at a high level.
Right.
Defensive line as well as offensive line. I've never seen so many pancake blocks where the Giants run the ball and controlling the clock, and they just was cutting guys off. And to me, and one of their best linemen, it was out.
Went out, yeah.
So you're thinking you can exploit that guy. Didn't have an opportunity to do that. So guys like B.J. Raji, you got to step up, and they got to put it in position to get after the quarterback. Yeah. Otherwise, it's going to be difficult to do that because I think they want to play the nickel where you got 2 linemen and 2 linebackers, and they try Pickett and B.J. Raji, but that's not a good front when you're trying to stop the run because remember, Adrian Peterson is coming this particular week. He's the best in the league at that, so they got to get the run game shored up in a hurry.
Yeah, no question. If C.J. Wilson got hurt in that game, if he can't
play,
that's going to hurt him. Another thing, just with this game, they've got Greg Jennings coming back.
Yeah.
Now, you could say, okay, well, throw Greg Jennings in there. Their offense is going to be back to normal. Is that necessarily true?
I think it'll be close, but not necessarily. I wouldn't start Jennings, but I would bring him in the first, third down. It'll pretty much eliminate what you want to do with Driver, even if you had 1 or 2 targets with him. But now all the targets are going to Randall Cobb. What do you pull back on those? Do you even not put James Jones in there, who was having a great year, with 9 touchdowns? I think for the most part, McCarthy understands to keep everybody happy. He's going to go a lot of 3 wide receiver sets. It's going to take Jennings time to get his legs under him.
Yeah.
So with that being said, I don't know if it'll disrupt anything, but I think the timing should be okay. Because remember, Jennings missed a lot of training camp.
Yeah.
He missed a lot of time anyway. So the chemistry is getting better with Jordy Nelson, Jones, and Cobb. So hopefully they can do that.
I just wonder if it makes any difference because if you can't block anybody, you're not going to be able to get them the ball anyways.
Right. And
so
because Jennings is a down-the-field guy. It takes him more time to get going.
Yeah, so we'll see. Got the Vikings coming in. This is going to be a test. The Vikings didn't look very good against the Bears on Sunday, but, they've got Adrian Peterson.
The one thing they do well is run the ball. Yeah, you can't let Christian Pond, the Florida State guy, you can't let him throw for 250 and 2 touchdowns. You're going to get beat because Adrian Peterson can put up 170 at any time. So that's fine if Adrian Peterson runs for over 150 yards. You just can't give up any big plays, no explosion plays over 25, the 59-yard screen against the Giants, all that kind of stuff hurts you. So I think for the most part, this defense has to go back, lick their wounds, freshen up. And I think that's a good thing about McCarthy. I talked about the team being tired. He'll freshen them up. He'll cut practice down, spend more time in the meeting room, and these guys will get fresh because I picked them to go 10-6, and they're on pace for that. 10-6 Tom gets you maybe the 4th seed. they can beat anybody in the NFC. They're not scared of the Bears. They're not scared of Atlanta.
Well, right now, they got to be scared of the Giants and the 49ers because they have not beaten two physical teams like that.
I will say this about the Giants and the San Francisco with Kaepernick at the quarterback. I think it's a reconnaissance mission by the Packers. We need to just, okay, we lost. We'll look at this tape and find out what mistakes that we can't make over again, and we got a game plan that can beat the Giants.
Are you sure you're not tired?
Yeah.
Are you sure you're not in this week
I have to give the coaches more
exhausted?
credit. I have to give more credit than you media guys.
Okay.
They understand that the Giants have a formula. They haven't changed. The Packers can change. You'll be getting Matthews back in a couple weeks. Like you said, Jennings is coming back. You may get Cedric Benson back. You're going to get some of these guys back. They'll be fresh. And you're going to get Woodson back. These other teams, they're not getting anybody back.
Yeah, well, you're more confident than I am. So,
well, I think the NFC is a little bit more parity than we think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for joining us, as usual, and we'll be back after the Vikings game.
And thank you to CynicsMarket.com for being a great sponsor. And you can pick up my new cookbook at any Cynics Ballester and owned and operated. And thank you for the Salvation Army. You see all those people ringing those bells outside these great establishments in the cold weather. It's for the families that need it. And W.J. Kuhn in Oak Creek for all the great automotive needs that you have.
All right.
Bye.